But one of the jobs that everybody hated, and I learnt this very quickly, is I was very lucky, and I was very lucky in the fact I knew people up in the south of France through holidaying, through years and renting boats and using boats. And a guy I know knew I'd moved to Spain, stopped working, I was there doing. So he said to me, would I like to come up and work on the boats up in the south of France? Wow, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Didn't realise though, when I got up there, I started working doing the maintenance on boats, cleaning on boats, and then gradually I ended up working on the super yachts up there. And because of COVID, I took many jobs because the crews were not getting over. They were stuck in foreign countries, not coming over. So I worked on many different boats with many different captains, had a fantastic time. Duties from washing the boats down to working on the engines, so I learned all about the engines. It was brilliant, super. But one of the jobs was when we used to come in and do the Mediterranean berthing. And Mediterranean berthing is when you come stern on to the back, and I believe that's because there's so many boats in the Med that they have to make them squeeze in there. And that's all cool. You learn to work with the other crews. You learn how people will go immediately to do that. You do that, you listen to your captain gives you all. But one of the jobs that everybody hated, and I learned this very quickly, is when you take your ground line, which runs from the back of the boat, runs all the way down and attaches into the middle of the water. You bring this up, and on the big boats you'd put it on a winch, and then you winch the line tight. This prevents the boat from crashing into the back and doing any damage. So you winch this rope really tight, and the first time I did it I was amazed, because every time I went on one of these super yachts, health and safety was so important. Your captain would take you to one side, you don't do this, I don't allow this to happen, because he's in control of all the situations. You don't go over the snap back area, which is anything in front of that winch where the ropes are. You don't go there, because if anything let go and that rope whips, you're in some serious danger. And I did that once, and I got some serious telling off for that. I got shouted at big time. But the shocking part for me was when you winch this line in, and that's probably the line that has the most tension on the front of that boat. You're then asked to release off the winch, because you never leave a line on the winch. You'd end up buckling the winch. You then move it across to the cleat. But to do that, they give you a little piece of rope that you would attach and wrap and do many knots, and then you'd stand there. Many people used to stand there and twist the line and hold it, and you would pray that this thing, as you unwound it, would not whip away and take your fingers and everything with you. And that shocked me, and every single boat I worked on, it was exactly the same. And I thought, no, this cannot be right. You've got machines that do everything, that look after you, and yet you still go back to this. Ooh, I hope it doesn't go. No. So after I finished working that season, I came back down to Spain, and this thing just sat in my mind going, this can't be right. I don't want to go back on these boats and do this job. So I just started thinking about it. I came up with some drawings, thinking, well, what if you did this, what if you did this? And in a very short time I realised that you needed something that would hold this rope, that you have to attach to the other side, but you would feel confident enough to just take it off and then transfer it over. So yeah, I came up with a design of a product now that I believe is perfect. It will do this job. You don't have to worry about it. And if I ever became a captain on a super yacht, I would not let anybody transfer that rope without using what I call the ground grab. So it's a simple product where the rope that goes through, so you attach that onto the rope which is on the winch. You will close that round, take the rope over the top of it, and then you would take that round the cleat, As it comes round the cleat, obviously the rope will be a lot longer. Then you tie that onto this here. Then the tension on that rope, which will hold it, it will not let it go. Then there's no danger.
Yeah.
So the simple thing will transfer it across. As soon as you want to release, you're in control. Take it off the rope, and nobody's losing the fingers. So that was a season working on super yachts. Then I came up with a ground grab. We're looking at manufacturing at the moment. This thing can obviously be made out of stainless steel, but it will be quite a heavy piece, because obviously this has to do a lot of tension. The Spectre rope, I believe it's Spectre rope, some people, So the Spectre rope will probably be about 3 meters long. I've got to do some testing on it, but it'll be 3 meters long. This will obviously take a high pressure, so we know this will last. The casing, the body, will either be made out of stainless steel, or it will be made out of a very strong aluminium. And then it's hard anodized they use, which is a surface which will be it'll come in a grey colour, but it's hard anodized. The grabbing pins on the inside, they will be made out of stainless steel, and they will be set in there. But it doesn't matter what size of rope you put in there. So you can go from, it's actually more, but that will take a 50mm rope, and it will go down to 6mm rope, but it will not let go. Once you close that, the pressure of that, so the more pressure that goes on, the more it will hold.
Yeah. So because you're putting it through this hook here, as you tie this on, as you put the tension on, it's actually closing it even more.
Closing it.
So the more tension it has, the more...
So the more pressure that's on there, the more this will grab. I'm that hooked on this now, and I was so scared of doing that job. I would do any job on the boat, from I think we talk about cleaning toilets to whatever needs to be done. It's fine. To be in that position was a wonderful thing. But when it came to taking that ground line in, it was a nightmare. So even if it didn't take off and people didn't, and I'm sure it will do, but if captains didn't have it on the boat and thought, well, no, I'm not going to bother, we'll carry on doing what we've been doing. If I was lucky enough to work on any more boats, I would take my own. There's no way that I'm putting myself in that kind of danger.
So this is just a demonstration model. This is not a functioning model.
This is as I say, it's a sample 2. We were very lucky in getting the design right very, very quickly. This is just a sample. It will be the same, because this is what I'm signing off on. The production will be the same, but it will be made out of solid steel.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks for the story.
No problem.